thank you for being with us as we continue our discussion with schools about the belonging of English language learners. What we know from research is that the more that we can, as schools, make our English learners feel like they belong to our school communities, that they're a part of our school communities, that their voices are heard within our school communities, the safer the students feel and the better they will perform academically. Today, we are highlighting the New York French American Charter School. And in our interview this afternoon will be Dr. Bertrand Tchoumi, the school's principal. And we're lucky this afternoon to also have two students, both eighth graders, Leon and Katie. Let's start a question, if we could, for Dr. Tchoumi. Dr. Tchoumi, can you tell us how you think students benefit by building a sense of belonging at the New York French American Charter School?
First of all, thank you so much for having me for this opportunity to talk about a very important topic. Belonging is important because if you don't have a sense of belonging to an environment, you cannot function properly. So it's very important that whether you're a teacher, whether you're a student, that you know that you are welcome in that environment and that that conditions are being created for you to express yourself. So, and that's why belonging is so important for us, especially when we are talking about students who are learning a new language in that environment, because we have they have to understand that it's a language, not the content, and the language is a vehicle. Language is a medium. So want them to understand that they're coming with a wealth of knowledge that is part of us, and that they are not just different because they don't speak the language yet. And that's very important because it's a yet. It doesn't take too long for them to get the language and to get into culture. I think I wanted to start Kadi, and then she's here today. I remember when the senator just came, it was a week ago, and she has an opportunity to speak, I think, and then she might maybe repeat it here. I remember her saying that she came to NYFACS because, uh, she feels like she was accepted in the environment because where she came from, for the previous school, and then she might correct me, the previous school, they might be, she might experience something different where once she came to NYFACS at the beginning, it wasn't a bit different, but it was very early, very soon, she felt, as part of NYFACS. And that is because psychologically, you're going to empower them. You're going to help them express themselves. You're going to help them, be successful at school. You're going to help them make friends. You're going to help them take risk. Because if you don't belong, then what you do, you hide, right? You run away. Then what happened? You stress. You are depressed. And then you are not learning and you're not successful.
And now let me follow up with Katie on that. Can you tell us a little more about the differences that you feel between the previous place you were and NYFACS? I think it's very interesting to hear Dr. Tchoumi, your principal, say that when you came here, you share that you felt like you belonged to something that you didn't have before. Tell us more about that.
I say in French.
Well, if you say it in French, we're going to have to translate it. If you can say it in English, it's okay. But if not, go ahead in French.
Okay. J'ai mon sentiment d'appartenance à NYFACS parce que je me sens plus représentée. Je me sens plus représentée, je me sens plus entendue et je crois plus en moi dans cette école qu'avant. Parce qu'avant, j'étais une fille très, très timide. Grâce à l'annoncement des événements de l'école, j'ai plus de voix, plus à dire aux autres et je me sens vraiment bien dans cette école.
Dr. Tchoumi, can you help us with the translation?
Yeah, I think just to summarize is that she feels that she has a voice now, and the people she can be heard, and the different activities and the culture that is being, the different culture displayed at school. She's feeling that she's a part of. She's feeling that she's part of the school, basically.
Wonderful. Now, for Leon and Katie, what ways do you feel that you belong at NYFACS? What kinds of things do you do there that make you feel like you're an important part of the school community?
I feel like I belong at NYFACS because like since like I'm a part of like the student government, like we've have like a lot of power where we get to represent ourselves and our peers, to help each other. Like we're a team, that help each other. Because like now we have the power to bring up complaints, things that we feel like are not going well, problems that we have during the school. We could bring it up in our meetings that will help them get fixed.
And is English your first language, Leon, or do you speak a different language at home?
Uh, I speak two different languages at home, and like coming to NYFACS where I came, where I didn't even speak French and I didn't even speak English, and now I'm here where I speak English fluently and I speak French fluently. And coming to a school where I relate to most other people's stories, where I'm the same ethnicity as other people, it was easier to create more friends.
Katie, what do you think? What ways do you feel you belong at NYFACS?
Je sens un sentiment d'appartenance à NYFACS parce que je suis plus pris en compte. Les amis et les connaissances que je me suis faites, par exemple Magnificat, eux tous, ce sont tous ces personnes-là qui me font sentir que je suis dans NYFACS, que je suis à part de cette école. Je me sens bien dans cette école. Elle me fait sentir comme une maison, une autre maison, parce que je passe toute ma journée là-bas. Donc, on ne s'ennuie jamais ici. Donc, c'est vraiment ce qui me fait penser que je suis à part dans cette école.
Leon, can you tell us in a few words in English what she's telling us?
She's saying that like at the school, she's able. When she came, she was very timid. She was shy. But now that she's in the student government, she's gotten more power. And with the help of people like Maifika, she's gotten to know people better.
Excellent. That's wonderful. Dr. Tchoumi, as the principal, in what ways do you make other people feel as though they belong? And this could be your students, but as you mentioned earlier, your staff and your parents as well. What specific things are you doing to help to make people feel like they belong to that community?
Yeah, I think it has been something in the works, and that we're doing better this year compared to last year. I think Leon mentioned the student government, for instance. I can tell you that we have government in each grade level, 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th. And I would surprise you, my sixth graders, even went ahead and launched a website on their own, like because they want to raise money to support NYFACS.
Wow.
Even though they didn't receive permission from us, but when I read what they said in what they were pushing, I felt like I will feel that this is our place, and we also want to be part of things that are being done here. Yes, it's something we need permission, but it was for me. I like it. I like that kind of expressivity, that kind of expression. It was both great, and I need permission to do that kind of thing, but also the risk taking showed at which point they know that we're doing things for them and they want to be part of it. They want to be part of the solution. And that is very, very important. So we are doing better in that regard this school year. But as for NYFACS, we've been here for a long time. We have continued this tradition of letting each culture express itself. You can see Kadi here. You can know where she's coming from, and then we celebrate that. There's no frustration. I mean, myself, wear what I want to wear. I express my own culture. I express other culture. And not long ago, we were there after the Eid, last week. We had a big feast at school where they brought all the meal and we ate together. So I remember one of the students eating with his hands. What have you seen that? That's an example. So all students speaking their languages. I like to see it. I heard I'm curious. I'm not pushing it back. No, say it. Use it with your friend in the cafeteria. I know in a classroom, in English classroom, math class, if you can explain that math in your language to your friend, that's okay. And they know it. So there's no way for them to be frustrated. And I think that's why they're feeling that NYFACS is that environment where they can thrive, where they can work hard. And even with teachers, I think we get into a point where I'm giving them more opportunity to be part of decision making. It's not perfect yet, but I'm trying to let go. I really value their input. I value what they say. Sometimes I won't accept what they propose, even if I'm not 100% agree. But just because I really want them to know that yes, they're part of NYFACS, they're part of the solution, and we can work together.
Mhm. And I know too, Dr. Tchoumi, from our work together, that you have an upcoming event, a multicultural day, where, and I think this is one of the most critical points that I think is so important that you are initiating, that your multicultural event is not only including the cultures of the students who attend the school there, but you've insisted that many cultures from many different continents, whether they're representative of students in your school or not, that your students and your staff and your parents are engaging in true multicultural conversations with every single country across the world represented in your upcoming multicultural day. Tell us why you think that's kind of an important way of operating.
Oh, definitely. And I would say that I really I thank our PTO for bringing up that idea, because it actually came from them. The idea of making sure that all the parts of the world are represented, in multicultural night, because my fact is a diverse environment. Let's put that. Of course, you have a majority of students coming, having an African background from, say, or coming from francophone countries, for instance. But we also have uh, students coming from China, coming from. We have our nurse from Japan, for instance. It's very important that she feels that her culture is represented in one way or another. We cannot represent everybody, but at least showing that we are open to the world. Because guess what? What is our mission? To develop bilingual, biliterate, global leaders. You see, global is not a continent. Global is not a country. It's a universe, and students have to start having that openness, to other culture, to other people, and start, even if in the classroom, I spoke to a teacher after the meeting, and she said, "Oh, I have one student from Asia, and that student going to lead." I said, "No, not only student. Call their parents and say, we have decided that for our multicultural day, we're going to use your country as a representation of that continent." And maybe that parent can bring other people, or that parent can come in the classroom. And then students will learn about other culture, other people. And that's very important for us.
Excellent. Now back to our students, you mentioned that you too are part of the very first middle school student government. I want you to talk, if you could, a little more about that. How has it made you feel to be a part of that first student government at NYFACS, having your voices in decision making for the school? That doesn't happen in every school. So tell us how that makes you feel.
Um, I feel like it's important to be like the first student government ever in the whole school, because like it feels like we're making history and we're inspiring other students to come up and be motivated to work hard and join the student government. And also we feel important to be in this, because like it gives us, we have like more power to speak on problems that are in the school, things we want to improve, things we want to get better. So now we're improving schools, not just for us, but for the kids younger than us that are coming up to be us one day.
Yeah, you certainly are an inspiration to younger kids. Katie, what about you, especially that your first language is French? Tell us about how it makes you feel to go to school in a place where your voice is obviously very important.
That's make me feel like I'm a person, a part of the school. That's make me feel like my voice. They can hear me, like they can hear me. My voice is attended by them, and I love that because they trust me. They trust me to make a decision for them to make this feel to make the school better for them and for myself too. So yeah, before
Beautiful.
I
When
was
did, go ahead.
yeah, like they say, before I was a really shy girl. Yeah, speaking was not my thing. So now, with the student announcement, and the student government, now I can tell my English is better, and people people can hear me, people can trust me, and yeah, that's important for me. Yeah.
And you're a real example, Katie, to other kids. Hopefully you already know that. Your voice and getting your voice out there and people listening to your voice, people trusting your voice, you are a real leader there, both of you. Hopefully you already know that, but you are true leaders at that school.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Dr. Tchoumi, how have you or how are you thinking about making this as part of a system at NYFACS, part of systematizing this kind of work as being ingrained in the school culture at NYFACS?
Well, I would say that it's starting with middle school. I think the work that we're doing around our student government, around that idea of empowering students to uh, voice and speak up, I think is going to continue. And I'm even thinking if I can to maybe on the staffing perspective to create an opportunity for me, a staff member, to have more time to really guide the student because now we're doing it over time. It's not easy to do all what we have to do, and at the same time, guide the student, facilitate work, facilitate meetings. Sometimes it can be overburdened. So, we're thinking about creating an opportunity for maybe a staff member who have a little bit more time to really do that work, so that it's not. It came a little bit. We wanted to do it. It came a little bit organically. Now we want it to be part of the system. So
Yes.
like we're over on the calendar, knowing that okay, from the beginning of the year, at this point of the year, we should have our student government. At this point of the year, we should have this and that. So that structuring of the process will be very very important. And also, last meeting I attended at the middle school, for instance, where we were talking about the enrichment part, the idea came that now that the exams and the tests are over, they will continue that 3 day, that 4 day enrichment, for instance, but one day will be dedicated for students self-development, so that they can start that conversation. So, but it has to be systematic also, like, what do we do there? You have to have like a curriculum or something that's well organized, that is going from class to class, not just organically creating what they want. So, but that's the purpose. That's where we're going towards. It's going to be not next year, maybe, but within 2 or 3 years, so that's something very solid. It becomes a tradition and a fact. But it's also important for teachers also to be part of that at the leadership level, to continue to create space for teachers to have a voice, to have a representation, to contribute to the school leadership so that we can build a better NYFACS. And for parents, we have a meeting monthly where they have an input. That's why I really like the idea of that they brought about the multicultural night, because I also want them to feel like, okay, we're bringing something from outside, they take it into the building and they're implementing it so that they create more cohesion between the student, the staff, and parents.
Good. Wonderful. And for Katie and Leon, before you got involved in this groundbreaking kind of student government work and making these daily announcements to all the students in both French and in English, how were your thoughts and feelings included in shaping the school culture at NYFACS? Were there other ways that you were able to get involved before this work began?
Uh, no, not really.
Okay.
But there were some ways, but there weren't many. Let's say it like that. Sometimes we could speak to the principal or get the teachers, but like during that time, we didn't like have like enough voices because it wasn't like many of us going to the teacher. It would just be us one at a time. But like when we became a student government, it was like a whole group of people going at the teachers at once, meaning that we were heard more since it's so many of us.
Yep. I mean, I think it's important that you just said prior to this work that there weren't really ways to have your voices included, right? That's what makes the work that you're doing here so important, and the reason why we asked you to be with us today to talk about it. If we're creating schools that don't include student voice, that don't include places where students feel that they belong, then we're doing something wrong. We have to be creating schools where people like you feel that it's their home, that you belong there, and that your voice helps to shape what's happening. Is there anything I didn't ask you that you'd like to talk about, that you'd like to add? Anything that you would like to tell us about your experience there at NYFACS that I neglected to ask you?
The teachers. I feel like at NYFACS, like the teachers really care about the students. Like if we're having issues in the class, they'll pull us aside and help us, give us ways to improve our grades. If we're not having the best of relationships with our classmates, they'll give us ways to, they give us activities that build, how I say, friendship, friendships, like a way to act like a team. Like they help us become a team and not just become one single person in a class. They make us feel like we're a part. We're we're helping create a bigger thing in the school.
That might be the best line of the whole interview, Leon. Helping to create a bigger thing. That does it, right? Katie, anything else you want to add?
I want to add thanks. I want to thank the whole people in the student government. I want to thank Magnificat Godino, and she's the president of the body corp of the school. And I want to thank Ms. Nasrin too, who actually made the idea of the student government. If she was not in the school, I think all of this could not happen. This interview, the student government, the announcement. Yeah, I really want to thank the student government. Yeah.
And for people who don't know, Miss Nasrin, who you just thanked, is one of our middle school teachers.
Yeah.
Thank you both so much. Dr. Tchoumi, is there anything I didn't ask you that you'd like to add as we come to a conclusion of our interview?
I'll just add that even here at the elementary level, we also are increasing student involvement. For instance, many of our announcements when we have activities like bake sales, like announcement about recruitment. We always have announcement about Spirit Week. We always have the voice of students using. They always use them as our public relation advocates. So we're starting to get them involved, and they're very excited about being part of that. Actually, Danielle, who is in charge of that, when they will come, do you have work? Do you have a job for me? Do you have a job for me today? So they constantly have a job. So, and that's just awesome to see them wanting to do something for the school, and that's something we're going to also continue. There are some other ideas. We always have students participating to our recruitment sessions on Saturdays. So we're going to continue to involve students so that they know that it's their school and they can make it what they want it to be.
Terrific. Well, I want to thank you, Dr. Tchoumi, and Leon and Katie, for your time this afternoon. It's really been valuable to us. And as other people listen to your voices, they're going to learn more about belongingness and English learners. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.